We have been house sitting now for quite a while, and we've had a lot of people show interest in house sitting, what's involved, just how to get started. Just a lot of questions.
Yeah, we got a lot of questions about how we keep our costs down while we're back in the States, and this is one of the ways we do it.
So the first area that we are going to start with, which is really probably one of the key areas, is what is the benefit to house sitting? And the first group we're going to start with is for the homeowner. Now, I would say one of the probably biggest things that is so great for doing house sitting is that as a homeowner, if you have pets and you're going to be leaving for, say, a week or even longer, a couple weeks, one of the biggest things that crosses your mind is putting your little furry friend into a kennel for that long. And that kind of can take away from some of the fun that you were having maybe on a vacation. So it's a really nice, it extends how long you might be wanting to go on your vacation, because you know you have somebody at home that's taking care of your pet. They get to stay in their regular home environment. And so I think that it's just, to me, that would be a really huge benefit.
Peace of mind. Alone, the peace of mind. You know, it's also very cost effective. You don't have to pay for that kennel. I didn't realize how much it costs to kennel your animal until just recently. You can spend $1,000 just on a week-long vacation. Nobody wants to do that. It's also beneficial to the homeowner on maintenance. This particular house we're doing right now has a well house. They're on a well system, so the pump house. And it's up to me to make sure that pump house stays warm.
Right, because it's wintertime right now. Yeah.
In the wintertime, so I have to make sure it stays warm when it gets too cold to prevent broken pipes. So you don't have to stop your mail, which is always a big pain, because you get home, you have to go to the mailbox office and get your mail. You don't have to do any of that. We're responsible for all of that.
Right. So, I mean, yeah, just all of the basics that you normally would take care of in your home, watering some plants and stuff like that, you don't have to worry about. You just have that figured out with your homeowner.
We need to do that, by the way. Forgot about that.
The other thing that is a huge benefit is having someone in your home. So, for instance, the home that we're house sitting here, there's not actually any pets that we're taking care of. They just really like to know that somebody is in their home, like for the maintenance things that we just mentioned to you. But also just that security of, when you leave, the lights are changing at night. People kind of see movement of cars coming and going. So you just kind of have that feeling of security, of people know the home is occupied.
They also just recently text us, they're shipping something home from where they're at in South America. And so we'll be here to receive that shipment. So that's just a benefit that they didn't know that we're going to get, that it just worked out. Okay,
so now we've covered the benefits to the homeowner, which is great. But for us, we get to take advantage of the benefits for the house sitter.
More importantly.
Yes, that's our advantage. So one of the things that we really, really appreciate is that the accommodations end up being free. So for us, that's a major money savings, especially when we are home. And with those reduced travel costs, or those reduced accommodation costs, it allows us to maybe do some of those things when we do travel somewhere else, where we get to spend a little bit more money on some of those other, I don't know, excursion or accommodations in other locations we're going, because we've saved money, say, this month by doing a house sit. Then we can kind of put those savings towards something else.
It gives us the opportunity to perhaps go somewhere where we wouldn't otherwise be able to afford to go because of the house sit.
Right. And that's one of the things we didn't really mention as far as like house sitting. Really what it is, and especially through the website that we go through, is it's an exchange of services. So you're house sitting for somebody, they're getting a house sitter in their house. It's like both sides are getting something for it. It's just a free exchange.
It's house sitting, so you're taking care of the home. If they give you chores to do, that might be okay, because you're getting free accommodations. It's a pretty good trade-off. Now, a nice little fun advantage are the pets themselves. If you're into animals, but you can't travel full-time with your dog or your cat, what have you, well, you get the opportunity to take care of usually a dog.
A lot of cats too.
And I can also say that we did a house sit down in Seattle a couple weeks ago, and I walked the dog 3 times a day, rain or shine.
Yeah, we were taking him out 4 times a day. We were doing
rain or shine, which got me out of the house. Because right now we don't have a dog sit or animal sit. So I stay inside quite a bit more than I normally would.
Yeah, it kind of makes us, it made us get up in the morning and go out for a walk. It made us go out in the evening to go out for a walk. Yeah, it just kind of makes you stay a little more active when you're house sitting. Yeah.
Yes.
One of the other advantages is the flexibility as far as, well, the availability to stay in places maybe you wouldn't have stayed. So a lot of time when you're traveling, you're going to find yourself being right in a touristy area or right in the hub of everything. This kind of sometimes can get you out, and it doesn't have to. You can make sure that you're just looking in those areas. But say you want to get out into in a village in France or out into the countryside in Italy or something like that. You have availability to do that.
A farm in Peru.
There you go.
Possibility.
So many options.
Probably the biggest advantage, I would say, not just the cost, but we tend to get better accommodations than we normally would doing the house sit than we would our Airbnbs.
Yeah.
This particular place right now that we're in, we couldn't afford for a day, let alone a month.
Not on Airbnb. We wouldn't have even chosen this or got this place. So
right. Yeah. So it's a big advantage to us. Right now we're looking over the San Juan Islands in Canada. So it's pretty special.
Right. We also appreciate, I know I appreciate, not being homeowners anymore, not even having your own place anymore, where you kind of have that feeling like there's things that need to be done. There's chores that need to be done, but also just something to kind of take care of. And this really kind of gives you that opportunity as well when you're not just taking care of their pet, but, it's a little bit of maintenance, a little bit of cleaning, a little bit of whatever. And, to some of you that might be like, I don't want to do that. To us, because we're on the road all the time, it is kind of nice having a little bit of that for a little bit of time. Not for long.
Not for long.
Then we'll be on the road.
Now, like anything, there's pros and cons. And we're going to talk about some of the cons right now. Now, they're not that big of a deal, but there's still something to be aware of. One of the things is you're really tied to a location for a period of time. When you commit to it, you're there. There's no flexibility. You can't decide, this place isn't what I thought it would be, so I'm going to leave. You can't do that. Yeah,
you have that ability, and we've done that a little bit in Airbnbs. You might arrive to a town or maybe the location, and it just isn't what you're expecting.
Yeah, so when you obligate to be in there, you got to be there.
The other disadvantage would be if you're at a location and you have committed to taking care of pets, but say you want to go and really tour around and take that day excursion where you're going to be gone all day, you're very limited as far as the pet may only be able to stay at home for 5 hours straight without being let out. So, you have to understand that going in as well, that you're going to have time constraints on how long you can be gone during the day.
Yeah, you can't just go party all day long. There's also pet allergies to be aware of. If you suffer from allergies, it might be a place where, it's not maybe as clean as far as pet dander goes. The house might be clean, but you might feel the effect if you have any types of allergies.
Okay, so now that we've gone over the pros and cons of house sitting, which site do we go through? So we go through Trusted House Sitters, and one of the things that, we first set up an membership that was free. So if you just go and you register, that's free to do. And then you can kind of just navigate their site and see if you're interested in it. Now, what I found in that time that we were just navigating the site and checking out sits that are available was how easy the website was to navigate.
Yeah, I got through it no problem. So that should tell you all you need to know.
So that's probably what made us pick them finally and then proceed on with a membership. So one of the things that I found so appealing with their website is how easy their search platform was to use as well. So you could be very specific of what you're looking for. So if you are looking for a place, as an example, I don't do reptiles. And so you can actually eliminate reptiles from your list of ones that they'll show you available.
I'll do the reptiles.
I don't want them in the house
drop
at all.
Crickets in their little
we already get that when we travel to Southeast Asia. We're fine. But you can be very specific about the length of time that you're looking for, because a lot of time you'll have sits come up that are only a couple days long. Well, that can really cluster up the search.
Yeah.
If you're not, we're not going to fly somewhere for 2 days.
We would do probably a minimum of a week.
Yeah, so we can plug in, say, a week or 2 weeks or even a month, and those are the only sits that are going to show up for you. So you can be incredibly selective if you want it to be a home, if you want it to be an apartment, if you want it to be by the beach, if you want it to be in the countryside.
If you don't want reptiles.
If you don't want reptiles.
Now, we are utilizing this mainly when we come home, but we are looking at other places, namely New Zealand, Australia, England, the UK, because there's a lot of house sits in those areas. This is worldwide. So for us to get to those locations, we will highly consider doing house sitters for those times. They're expensive countries to travel to. This would help.
Yeah. So the other benefit that I think it kind of set our mind at ease as well. You know, it's kind of like when you're looking at Airbnb, one of the first things that you do is you look at the reviews and ratings for that place. That like eliminates them off of there. Well, this site has the exact same things that you can look at. So you are going to be able to read as a homeowner, you're going to be able to see the reviews and ratings on the sitters that are applying for your house sit, and then vice versa. So we can see the reviews and ratings on a home and homeowner. And then you could read the reviews that people have said. So to me, I think when we can sit there and we can read through and they say, oh, the place was, you know, one of the things I look for is how clean is it? Well, how is it kept clean?
Yeah, and it's not only a review on the home and homeowner, but also the pets. Is this dog easy to walk? The review we got on our last homestay was the dog is not easy to walk. The dog likes to do its own thing. We knew that going in.
Yeah.
And
so we were able
it was a very accurate review.
Right. So we were able to read that, and then you kind of have that idea. I mean, you have enough information. Yeah. So I know that helps you.
You have all the information you need before you book it.
Now, when you are looking for a sitter or you're looking for a house sit, one of the other really cool things is that you're going to be able to look at, say, the profile for both parties, right, for the home or whatever, and you're going to know exactly going in or have a really good idea before you apply what skill level they need for that home, because they're going to give you information about what kind of pet care is needed. Some animals need medication, some might even need a shot or something like that, but you're going to know before you even apply if it's something that you feel capable of doing.
Right. We've even seen some home sits that need somebody that can do, you know, larger animals, farm animals, horses, that sort of thing. So if that's your expertise, you might be at the top of that list. Now, we touched on this a little bit earlier. How do you set up your account? You can sign up for free, and then you can explore and see what's out there to see if it's going to work for you.
Now, say that you've gotten to the point that you are now ready to move on, you're ready to sign up for a membership. Now, what are those memberships going to cost you? So at the time of this video, the basic membership is going to run you $129, and then the standard membership is going to run you $169. Then there's also a premium membership that comes with more, I don't know, different special things that's included. We went with the standard one, which is kind of the middle range. And one of the reasons that we chose to go with that one was a couple added benefits. Part of that was insurance was added. So you do have a little bit of a liability insurance there, which we just felt was important when we're staying in someone else's home and something were to happen.
Yeah, now that is a one-time annual payment.
Right.
Yeah, that's not monthly, that's yearly. So when you figure out you're paying $169, whatever package you use to you pick, you're going to make that back on your first day, because I can guarantee you wherever you're staying is going to cost more in accommodations.
Right. So we felt that after just doing one stay, we were able to kind of go, okay, well, that paid for our year's membership.
Right.
One of the other benefits that came with being in that middle package plan was that you had the availability to chat online or talk to a vet. And so we also felt that that was important, because you are taking care of somebody else's pets, and the last thing you want is to have something happen, or if you can't get a hold of the homeowner. So that was a really nice benefit as well. So with those prices, one of the things that's really nice is that if you would like to get more information, we will have the links down below in the description. So click the links to be able to go to the site, but also there's going to be a link there that if you would like to get 25% off when you're ready to actually sign up for your plan, go ahead and click that link, and then we will go ahead and send you a 25% off code to use.
Wow, 25%. That's a pretty good deal. Now, how do you set up your profile? Carrie set up our profile, so I'm going to let her do most of the talking on this one, but it's basically like an application.
It really, I wouldn't even say application, but I would almost put it into the same as like a dating profile. So if you've ever
I wouldn't
been on,
know, Carrie.
Yeah, he would, because we actually saw each other on a dating site. Anyway, so if you have ever done that before or ever seen one of those before, that's basically what it's going to kind of look like. You're going to upload some pictures. You're going to upload some information about yourself or about your as a couple. Right. You just want to make sure, don't skip over this process and don't skimp on it. Make sure that you spend the time. But with that said, you can have your profile set up in about an hour. It's not a timely process. So it just kind of depends how much time you want to go into making that description or your information about you as, I don't know, as nice as possible.
Yeah, make it personal.
Yeah. So the other things that you kind of want to include in there is, what kind of pets have you watched before? What kind of pets did you have that you owned yourself? And I know a concern of some people is that, you're just starting out on the website, so you don't have any references yet. The really awesome thing is that they do allow you to send 3 links to 3 people that you say have house sit before. So if you've house sit, or you should plan on doing that for, say, some friends, then you can go ahead and send a link to them and have them write a review for you on the site.
You can also link your Airbnb, is that correct?
Right.
Get your Airbnb reviews on there as well, which is very beneficial to us since we've stayed in so many Airbnbs.
Yeah, and it's hugely beneficial just because, especially for us, we've stayed in so many and we had so many positive reviews, and when they start to see that repetitive reviews, right? So the things that say, oh, they left their house or the Airbnb really clean, or I don't know, they were good communicators, or those are the things they want to see.
They're just super cool people that,
Yeah, so don't skimp on that area. Make sure and spend the time. Make sure and post pictures of the 2 of you or yourself, and then also some pictures of some pets as well, so they kind of just get a real good feel for who you are.
Now, this is a two-way street. You're doing them a service. They're also doing you one. Make sure you have your needs met. Is there good Wi-Fi? Can you have guests over, family members, to stay the night? Can you use their car? Things like that are all questions that you can ask up front.
Yeah, you can actually put that in the selection process, check those little boxes so that once again, the sit that you are finding is fitting exactly what you're looking for.
Yeah, how close you are to a grocery store if you can't use that car. That's a big one for us because we're usually walking. So if we're a ways away, we're going to need a car. Now, once you find a house that you're interested in sitting, how exactly do you go about applying?
So it is an incredibly easy process. You are just going to push the apply button at the bottom, and rest assured, because I really didn't know before we got on there, I was like, apply, and I didn't know if that just meant you applied. Then another screen will pop up. So then you get to write just a little bleep in there of why you're interested, and just a little note to the homeowner. And you don't need to go into any great detail here because you already have your profile that they're going to go check out.
Your dating profile.
Yes. But you want to just write a little bit of something to intrigue them to look a little bit further and go to your profile. And at that point, now you just kind of wait. You've applied, sent it to them, and the way that it works is that they will get about 4 to 5 applications, and then what they do is you'll all of a sudden see their the listing will go to saying reviewing applications. So it kind of grays out the listing, so no more applications are being accepted, and then hopefully you hear from them.
Now, they can only take so many applications, correct?
Yes, that is new on Trusted House Sitters. It used to be that they could just continue to take applications, but now Trusted House Sitter kind of stops them at, I believe it's 5. I've only ever seen them go to 4, but that might be because at 5 it shuts them down. And so there's a huge advantage to that, and we'll go into that a little bit later.
Now, if they're interested in your application, they're going to want to talk to you. They're going to want to have a phone call, maybe a Zoom chat. Make sure you have a list of questions that you would like to ask them. Remember, this is a two-way street, so you might need some information from them as well.
Right. And so you're going to want to get on the phone, and like I said, you have those lists ready of all the things. Some of the key things, like we discussed, is that most of the time you're not going to have a car available to you. So for us, just like with an Airbnb, it's like, how far away is a grocery store? How far away are just those little conveniences? One of the stays that we had, it was really nice because within a 1 mile radius, we had like 10 breweries. So
10 breweries.
That was pretty ideal for us.
Yeah, it was pretty cool.
Yeah, and same thing, we had grocery stores within half a mile. So those are things you're definitely going to want to ask. The other questions that you're going to want to have is about the pet care. They're going to go into brief detail about pet care on the website when you look at their listing. But if you have any specific questions about their pet, you're going to want to ask those. You also want to ask, what are their expectations? So, some homeowners might have the expectation that they are going to get pictures sent to them daily of their pet, or they might want a daily update. and how they want that communication to take place and whatnot. So really, like Brian was saying, this is an interview process for both directions. So as a homeowner, you also are going to want to come up with any of those questions that you would have for the house sitter. You know, are they a clean person? You know, any of those things that you want to know, now's your time to ask.
We've had a lot of questions asked about house sitting, how it works. We think we've answered a lot of that, but there's a lot of questions here that we're going to go over right now.
We're going to go over it, and even if they are a little bit of double up of information you receive, we want to make sure that we're getting all of your questions answered.
Yeah, so what are the responsibilities? What are your responsibilities going into somebody's home and taking care of their house? You know, any house maintenance that might be required over the wintertime. Pets, obviously, and keep the home clean and keep it safe.
Right. And these are all going to depend on the sit that you've picked, you know, so you're really going to know ahead of time, and you can very much, like we said, search out those sits that fit within the expectations that you're looking to fulfill. Another question was, how am I going to communicate during the time that I'm on a sit? That is very much going to depend on you and the homeowner, or vice versa. Once again, that's going to be in part of your conversation during the interview process of how do they want to communicate with you, or not even during interview process, but before you actually start the sit, you're going to have that communication. Some may want to text with you, some may choose to contact you just on the Trusted House Sitter site, and then others may decide that they want you to email them. So once again, you'll just have that all set up beforehand.
Now, how far ahead do you need to set up a house sit? Well, it really depends. Some of these come up last minute. They're too good to be true. You apply for them. Some of them are 9, 10, a year out because they know they're going on an extended vacation. Those would be the ones that we would prefer doing so we can set our schedule. We are flexible, but those last minute ones can sometimes be difficult for us, but they might be perfect for you.
The other question that we receive often is, what if you travel with a pet of your own? And I think that, you know, in the beginning I was thinking, oh, then you're not going to be able to house sit. Like, why would you go to someone's house with another animal? But it's actually quite common, we found out. So, you know, this is once again going to be something when you're reading through some people's profiles or some of the house listings, right? It's going to be pretty specific in there if they don't want you to bring a pet with you. Sometimes, though, it won't be mentioned at all. So just reach out to the homeowner and send a message and ask that question.
That'll be one of those questions you have beforehand. Yes. Is it safe for single travelers? Now, we have a lot of solo travelers that watch this channel, and we assure you it is. If you're not comfortable in a bigger home, there are also apartments and condos that you can use that filter, and you can stay in those as well if that makes you feel more comfortable.
Now, does either party exchange money in this process? No, they don't. Now, I'll go backwards on that a little bit. So there might be certain circumstances where, say, pet care is very extreme. Say there's a pet with a medical issue, or say that you are going to do a farm sit with a ton of animals that takes a lot of time. This might be a conversation that you have with the homeowner at that time of any additional expenses that might come up.
That might occur,
but really, all the other places that you're going to be looking at, this is an exchange of services. You get to stay in their house for free and take care of their pet and their home, and they get to go and travel.
Right. That also includes utilities. We had that question asked as well. Does this include utilities? Yes, it does. You don't have to pay for heat, water, cable. It's all included.
Yeah, and if you were going to have to in certain countries, there might be an issue with that. Once again, just make sure you're really reading through all the information that they provided on their site, because it should all be there. Is it easy to get house sits if you are new to the website? What I will say is that it's going to be a little bit more challenging because you don't have all of those reviews in there and some current stuff on the website. But like we mentioned, make sure when you're setting up your profile that you have done some house sits for family members or some just acquaintances so that you can get some reviews. Make sure and link your Airbnb. The other thing that is such a big benefit to people that are new is because Trusted House Sitters is now limited how many applications that the homeowner can receive before they at least review that pile of applications. When they used to be able to collect so many applications, it really put the new house sitters at a disadvantage, because the more applications that come in, there's always going to be those couple of people that probably have a ton of reviews, and they're going to kind of push you out of the way. But now those new homeowner or the new house sitters, they're just new to the site, get that ability to kind of at least get their profile in front of them.
How long have you been house sitting? We have been house sitting for approximately 2 years. We started with friends and family, which included farm animals, included dogs, and included this house sit, which doesn't have either. But there are more responsibilities, I think, that come with this house and those other two. So we've been doing it for a couple of years now.
Now, do you trust the homeowner? This is a great question, and we've actually gotten this one a lot.
Quite a bit, yeah.
There is always, no matter what, it doesn't matter if you're going into an Airbnb, a hotel, or wherever you're going into, there has to be a level of trust. But this honestly is just where that interview process comes in. That comes in with reading the reviews. Make sure that you have done your due diligence ahead of time, had that phone conversation, read through their profile, asked any questions that you have on your mind of, I don't know, that...
I think one of the advantages to this whole setup is you have a conversation. It's an interview process that goes both ways, like we mentioned, well beforehand. So before you even decide, you've spoken with this person on a personal level on the telephone, and it does set your mind at ease to, you know, they need you, you need them. It works out.
Well, and I think, like, just like anything, let your gut kind of give you the final answer. If you have those conversations or you're reading through the profile and something's just not settling right with you, move on. There's other house sits. It's just not worth questioning any of that.
Now, the average length of stay on these house sits, it does vary, but you're looking at about 3 to 4 days on a typical house sit. Now, for us, we like to stay longer, but if the time works and it's in our area, we'll take those house sits, because we might be able to stack them up, and you do 2 or 3 house sits over the course of 3 weeks. It could work out in your advantage.
Yeah, and like we said, just use those filters and you can narrow it down. If you want the short ones, great. If you want the long ones, you don't have to see all those short ones, because there's a lot of those ones as well. So now, we really hope that this answered all of your questions. If it did not answer them, absolutely put your questions down in the description below. I'm sure we've missed some of them. You know, if you haven't considered house sitting before, I really just would highly recommend that you look into it. Like we said, you can go to the link down in the description and it will take you to the website. You can check out just what's available, because it's a lot of fun to just see really those opportunities of places that you could travel to. And when you get to take accommodations off the list of things you have to pay for, it sure makes your trip a lot more enjoyable.
Especially with the cost of Airbnbs going up, accommodations across the board. Everybody seems to be traveling now since COVID's over with. Thank God. Prices are going up.
Yes,
so this is a great way to maybe travel to places you may not otherwise travel for very low price.
All right. Thanks for watching.
Cheers.